Yo, hell yeah. Wyatt begins in like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yo, welcome to Wyatt. And I'm your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans. Grrr, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. Hey, to all my YouTubers out there, if you like what you hear, and if you like what you see, just click that subscribe button at the bottom of your screens. Just click it, click it, click it, click it. I loves to click it. Yeah, I really, really do. Now, today's Wyatt features the editor, writer, and activist, Mr. Philip Esteem, whose activism is making one hell of a positive impact within the LGBTQ plus community. So let's meet Philip right now. So without further ado, Wyatt welcomes activist, editor, and writer Mr. Philip Esteem. Talk at me, baby. How the hell are you?
I am doing wonderful, wonderful, great. Me and Paul were just sitting here shooting the shit. Paul is in my son, Paul.
Ah, gotcha.
We're all grown here. This is what we do Friday after we decompress from a long day, long, hard week of work. We just sit back.
Tell me about it. Listen, thank you for stopping by, Wyatt. It is greatly appreciated. And listen, man, you are the man. You are the Chicago-based editor and administrator of PrideIndex.com, which is an online entertainment portal for African American and people of color, LGBTQ plus communities, and our allies. So what compelled you to create the site? Let's start there.
When I get that question, oftentimes I try to think of my response. And then the truth is I'm crazy. How do I say this?
Thank you for telling me. I'm going to have to avoid you after this interview.
You told me that you would give me $1,500 for this. Oh, okay. I ain't supposed to tell that part. Never mind.
Please continue, but don't talk about that.
I'm not going to talk about what happened in Vegas. Stay in Vegas. All right. So, Pride Index actually started almost 20 years ago. Next year will be our 20th year, and yes, 20 Wonderful. Years of talking to people, authors, actors, activists, and so on and so forth. And so next year we're celebrating our 20th year. And
congratulations.
I am not actually the founder. I'm the administrator. I worked with a young lady who founded the website, and she let me do whatever I wanted to do. Now, people that know me say, no, Philip, you took over. Well, she let me take over. She pretty much let me take over whatever I wanted to do. She saw some of the stuff, and she said, hey, I'm just going to step out of the way and let you do your thing.
Well, man, you're doing a great job, and I want to thank you for
I'm spilling drink on me.
Oh, can't do that.
We're going to cut that part out.
Can't do that. Well, listen, I want to thank you for the fantabulous interview feature that PrideIndex.com did on me in my new novel, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart. Shattered! I said shattered! Yes.
That's right.
Man, it was a great interview. It was a wonderful feature, and I'm still getting great feedback. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, I thank you. And, it was one, I have been seeing your work everywhere in some of the different groups online. And I'm glad that we finally got to connect and all. And I could provide my friend Langston with some husband material. That's HUZZBEND, husband material.
Oh, like bend over?
Like bend over, stuff like that. Or husband.
Okay.
It's a Southern thing.
Yeah, I know that. Husband. Husband, yeah. Well, tell us this. What is PrideIndex.com's mission?
PrideIndex.com's mission is very simple. It is simply to tell your story, to tell my story, to tell the next person's story. Oftentimes, people don't have a venue or place or platform when you're trying to do things. I thank God for the various organizations out there. I love GLAD to death. I love Land the Literary to death. I love the Publishing Triangle to death. But yet, with all of those venues, people still need to have a venue to come to. And that's where we are. We're there to tell your stories, to share your experiences, to laugh with you, to cry with you, to help you fundraise, to help you leave your man, to help you find a better man, to help you deal with your man, your woman, and your other man, or whatever the case might be. Pride Index is us.
You mean your side piece, right?
Side piece, yeah, all of that stuff. Not that I have a side piece. I heard you. I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to trick me. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Mr. Esteem, I would never, ever, ever try to trick you. Never try to trick you. Okay, well, you told us about its mission. What do you think the impact has been thus far?
You know what? Sometimes I'm surprised by the impact that we have, and sometimes you can't measure it.
Yeah,
you might think that, okay, so and so's story got a couple of thousand unique visits.
Right.
Okay, yeah, it did good in terms of numbers. However, the impact goes beyond the numbers. The impact is what happens when somebody from another state reach out to you and say that I read your book.
Right.
I identify with your characters, or Wyatt, we need you to come to our city to sell your book. That's what the impact is. It's sometimes seen and not seen, but felt.
Well, you know what, Philip? Let me tell you something. You're absolutely right. I could not have said it any better. You're absolutely right. Okay.
So I think I need to put like a clicker or something on your story. So every time somebody clicks on it, I'll get $5 back when they turn around and contact you and buy a book or something. You don't look like you buying what I'm saying.
I do.
Am I wasting my breath?
No,
Wyatt!
No.
Yes, I am. I'm wasting my breath. Yes, I am.
No, you're not. I totally get it. We all need as many revenue streams as possible, So I totally get you. I get it.
But I want to make revenue off your revenue stream without me doing it. I want to stay at home and be asleep. And Wyatt's book is out there selling, and I'm getting a cut of it.
We'll talk about that after this show is
y'all,
over.
He's saying that, but he's not going to talk to me about that. He's going to say, well, I got to go do some other stuff. See, he's being polite.
Oh, God. I'll talk to you. Okay, look. Before we dig deeper into PrideIndex.com, your other many endeavors, and your role as an activist, let us just sashay through the quarters of time so that our audience can find out all about your backstory. Are you ready?
I am ready. Wait, hold on. Now I'm ready.
Okay, well, where were you born and raised?
I was born in Chicago.
The Windy City.
As a little child. A long, long time ago.
The Windy City.
The Windy City. Born and raised in Chicago. I have lived other places. I like Chicago. I like being able to travel. I love D.C. I had a wonderful time there. Okay. I need to get back there. Love New York. Love New Orleans. Love Atlanta. But Chicago is my home base. So I was born and raised here. And however, I attended school elsewhere at a HBCU. We love our HBCUs.
Now, listen, before you tell us what HBCU you attended, and I want to get a little bit into your experience, your university experience, I always, Philip, like to ask my special guest this question, and here it is. What was Philip like as a little boy, a little nipper? Give us like 3 characteristics that best describe you. Come on.
My auntie said I was a little talking boy. You
No.
just love to talk,
What?
talk, 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 talk,
No.
talk, talk.
You must be joking.
And I
Really?
love to eat.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
And I was very curious. I was always curious, finding my way into stuff, asking questions. Sometimes my mama, get outside and play. Ma, all I asked you about was what's the birds and the bee? Get outside. And I would go outside and play. Later on, I found what the birds and bees was because I had older cousins. Used to hear them talk and say stuff they didn't have no business saying around me. Well, actually, they wasn't saying it. I was under the table, ear hustling. So, curious child, love to tell stories, and just love adventure.
Well, speaking of the birds and bees, Philip, what was your coming out experience like?
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so funny because I ask people that question all the time in our private index interviews, and sometimes I don't ask the question, or at least in the piece that's actually on the site. But
Oh,
for
okay.
me, my coming out experience, I don't know that I actually ever like came out. I think somebody knew, and they knew before I knew what I really wanted.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
I put my hands together, and I would thank the heavens above that I didn't have some of the nightmarish coming out stories, or my mama kicked me out the house and stuff like that. I thank God I didn't experience that. But I guess if you're saying on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 was it was absolutely horrible, and 10 it was great, mama hugged me and went to a PFLAG meeting the next day, I was more like on a 5, somewhere in between there.
Okay. Great. That wasn't bad at all. Okay.
Right.
Cool. No trauma. Okay.
Oh,
Good.
plenty of trauma. Plenty of trauma. I could tell you that, like, sometimes in the relationships, and you think society tells you you should do this, you should want this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you're not really sure and you don't understand. And I say to people, you know what? Be patient, figure out who you are, and maybe your coming out story isn't mine. Let's say if mine was, oh, I kicked that door down and just ran out. No, it's not always that. Sometimes it's not safe to come out just like
Right.
right away like that.
True. True.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I kind of give people my experience would be it wasn't exactly great, wonderful because I had some struggles within myself.
Right.
However, it was not bad, as in I had to sleep under a car or was kicked out in the street like that. So I tell people in coming out, you kind of have to figure out things on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that you'll have somebody older in your life, or somebody even of your same age, who is patient and who will give you the tools to say, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
okay if that's what you are. See, I'm going back to that childhood and doing all of this damn talking. It's either that or this drinky poo over here.
Well, you can do both. And I mean, you've given us some great sound common sense advice, which is good. And I really want to thank you for that.
I try to. I try to. For me, I know I sometimes say, or I often say, I don't know all the answers, but we could figure out some answers. And that is part of me and growing up too. You have a curiosity and you just find out. Sometimes the answer isn't good. Sometimes the answer isn't what you want to hear. Sometimes the advice might be, well, I don't want to say good advice, but I would say maybe somewhere in between. Oh, just walk home,
Mm-hmm.
and it's painful or it's time consuming.
Got it. Well, you're not as crazy as you think.
I'm not. It, see, it's this. It's this right here. See, you see how full this glass is?
Yes.
Now, when it gets down to here, well, Wyatt, I want to tell you, oh, your book was fabulous. I was on the first page. No, okay.
Well, we better finish this before that happens. Anyhow, let's let's go to your college, your university experience. What university? How has it shaped you into the person that you are today?
I went to HBCU, which is a historically black college university. I went to Dillard University.
Okay.
We have Jericho Brown, one of my heroes, who is a Pulitzer Prize winner for poetry, who attended and who might be of more recent things that people would remember. Garrett Morris was also one of the big alum too.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yes. And the school was is a small university in New Orleans. Wonderful, excellent place. I had the time of my life. Met some people. One of my friends from North Carolina, who I am still friends with and who I curse out still to this day for being a knucklehead. He cursed me out too. He say some stuff to me too. So, you know, but I guess what I'm getting at is when you meet somebody that you met over 30 some years ago and you're still friends with them and you talk about the divorces and bad investment and jobs and everything else. So what I'm getting at is I had a wonderful experience there and just outstanding.
Great. Okay. And I mean, you know, that's a great quality friendship. 30 years. I mean, you don't see that happening that often.
Right. And sometimes you lose track of people, but we caught up with each other after we moved and stalkers and tried to change his address. I found him.
Okay.
No, I don't mean it like that. What? See, y'all see what? You found him. No.
Well, I mean, stalker. I mean, come on now.
What you trying to say? I'm a stalker?
No.
And I looked them up, hired a detective, and
no.
Never mind.
No, I would not say any of those things about you. I really wouldn't. I'm scared of you. Scared. I'm SCU. I am SCU double RED of you, but it's all good.
All right.
Okay. Mr. Esteem, let's talk about your activism. I believe it began in like 2005 with Black Pride.
Yes. I attended one of the Black Pride meetings and I worked with several people there. Couple of folks I'm still working with. Some of them I'm not working with anymore. But that's where it started, and that's where that was actually the origins of the Esteem Awards. And we started out working with Black Pride, and then later on decided, hey, I wanted to do A, B, and C, and branched out on my own.
Okay. We're going to talk about the Esteem Awards a little bit later, but this is what I wanted to say to you. Some factions say that since there are already LGBTQ plus prides, there is not a need for Black prides. But, you know, folks were also saying that after Obama became the prez, that we had entered a post-racial world. And look what happened. Look how that turned out. So please, Philip, weigh in the necessity for Black prides.
It's important. And I know that people will say that pride is only about partying, but it's more than that. But I also challenge people who say that, who say, hey, well, there's nothing going on but all of these parties.
Right.
Be the person, be the agent of change, be the change that you want to be, that you want to see. Live that life, be that person to step forth and offer something else. It's easy to say what isn't happening. It just takes one person to touch another person, to touch an organization. And voila, 10 years later, you're still doing something that affects the community. And sometimes it's seen and not seen. So there's a place for it. And there's a place for the nightlife and clubbing that's part of the experience, but that's not the only experience. And if you feel that way, go and do something in your own community. Do whatever. I think about the gentleman who started Big Boy Pride. When we used to go to Pride years ago, you went to Atlanta and DC, and everybody in there were buffed and six packs and all of this, and that's who got the attention. Right. And maybe if you were one of the boys who wasn't all of that, then maybe you felt that wasn't your place. But then the big guys said, you know what? We want to have a party. We want to do this and that too. And they started their thing. And it was the same was true with the transgender different groups who wanted to do some things and create a space for themselves. So your audience, everybody who's out there listening, and I might be preaching. Yes, I am preaching. If you see there's a need for something, it's easy to say from these, they not doing this and I wish somebody would do that. Go do it. If you did it for one day, a couple of hours, an hour, and you will be amazed years later what you've done and what you've started.
So in other words, be that change agent.
Be that change agent.
And let me say one thing about big boys, as my mama used to say, I got to have me some meat on the bone. So yes, for the big boys.
Yes, I love them. I love their spirit. They will try to come and talk to you just the same and won't care. So, I'm going to be a big boy one day. You think I'm going to be this 150 pound? Okay, I'm lying because you only see this part up. But no, I love them. I love their spirit. I love what they've done. And for other people who want to do some things, go do it.
Good advice, y'all. Be that change agent. Well, speaking of change agent and all that great stuff, you have the annual Esteem Awards, and you just had one July the 1st. So please tell us, why did you feel compelled to create the Esteem Awards, the impact, and tell us about, the recent July 1st event.
The July 1st event was phenomenal. I had a good time. I was up day and night before that, doing some things and trying to get that together and working with my wonderful editor to put together everybody's wonderful acceptance speeches at theesteemawards.com. Go visit right now. Look at some of that. Okay, I know that was the commercial. But it was a great event, as it is every year. And I like that we are able to bring attention to people across the country and even people across the city of Chicago, right, and just give them their kudos and their flowers.
Wonderful. Wonderful. That is so great. Now, is this the 10th year?
This was the 16th year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Now, although we started back in, I'm getting my years mixed up, 2007. There were 2 years that we didn't have an event.
Oh, okay.
Then 2019, we had an event. COVID happened. We didn't have an actual in-person event, but we did continue to give out the awards in 2020 and 2021. Then we were back in person in 2022, and again back in 2023. Program book. Okay, I guess it's it's not being seen the same because I'm actually the other way. Flip it around. But anyway, go to prideindex.com, theesteemawards.com, and you can look at some of our past honorees and look at those acceptance speeches from our wonderful honorees from this year.
Wonderful. Philip, I mean, you are a hard-working man like James Brown, because September the 2nd, which is Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, you're going to have artists in the afternoon. So let's give us the 411 on that.
Yes. Artists in the Afternoon, we had our first in-person event last year in Atlanta. I reached out to a friend of mine, Dr. Derek Tenio, and I said, Derek, I wish that we could do a literary cafe, because a couple of years before, he and I went to the literary cafe that Atlanta and the Life was given. Eddie Pierce was over that. Wonderful friend of mine, Eddie. Yes. Right. Eddie did a fucking phenomenal job putting those panels together. And the next year, they weren't having that event. And I said to Derek, Derek, I would love to do something like that again. And he said, okay, we're going to do it. Just that simple. So how are we going to do it, Derek? We're going to do block. He said, all the ideas are up here in my head. He wanted to do an event that was similar to that. And it was born from there. So he and I just got together and we cranked out that event like less than a month's time. Whoa. So that was our first in-person event. Then earlier this year in February, we had just a virtual event where we asked authors to come in, chime in, talked about why representation was important. And this year is our second in-person event in Atlanta. And it's once again going to be held at the Metropolitan Library on 1332 Metropolitan Parkway. I said, yeah, Metropolitan Library, and it's on Metropolitan Parkway Southwest. If you go to theesteemawards.com or prideindex.com, all the information is there. And right now we're still plugging away to finalize a couple of other panelists, because we reach out to so many people and we say, are you able to, would you like to be on a panel? And if we could get them to come in on their own, although we're going to get to that day where we reach out to people. Wyatt, you're coming to Atlanta, damn it.
Yes, sir.
He's shaking his head. Yep. He's like,
yes, sir. Yes. I will be more than happy to do that. Oh.
Right, but we got to get our coins together to get to the part where we can bring people in. We're right now at the point of we're asking people, if you're in the area, come out to the event. It's free. We feed y'all. Oh, God, we feed these black folks during Pride. We had so much food last year.
What's the menu?
Had to make them leave.
What's the menu?
That chef, her name was Chef Tanya. She fucking pulled watch my language. She effing pulled some food out of her brassiere.
What?
And that stuff was so good. We had shrimp and grits. We had tacos. We had steak and baked potatoes and a whole bunch of other stuff. And folks,
Lord.
Like I said, we fed those folks and had to kick them out the room. Okay, y'all. The event is over with now. We have to leave. But we had so much food and entertainment. Tim and Wes was there. He's going to be at this year's event again.
Okay.
Our theme of this year is the right passion and purpose.
And
right. R-I-T-E. Passion and purpose. So it's plays on the words, if you will, on writing and writing with passion and purpose.
I see.
Yep.
Well, oh, yeah. I've got to give a shout out to Mr. Eddie Pierce because he was on my show on Wyatt the last time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Eddie is a phenomenal person, and I wanted to go to Dallas and pick him up. Get in my car, we'll drive back to Atlanta. Unfortunately, technical difficulties. I'm already in Atlanta. Okay, dude, can you come drive over here? And you try to trick him. You try to trick him and say, oh, I'll meet you in Kennesaw. He goes, Kennesaw is closer to you than it is to me. Yeah, meet me in Kennesaw, then I'll come pick you up.
You know what, man? I get the impression that you like to trick people quite a bit. What's up with that?
Oh, my God.
You
called me.
You are a trickster.
You got me.
Yeah, a little trickster.
Yes, I am. I am. But see, Wyatt, that was
Yes.
supposed to have been Wyatt of what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
I'm
You're not
sorry. I'm
supposed to be
sorry.
telling my secrets now.
It was just an observation that just came right out of my mouth. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
See, now I'm not going to be able to make no money off that.
Yes, you will.
Okay.
You make money. Now, look. Before we leave, I've got to ask you this question. I find it very, very interesting. Okay. What three historical figures would you like to have a dinner party with and why?
Mr. James Baldwin, if I could have dinner with James Baldwin and the stories I would get him to tell me, and just wow, I wouldn't know where to even begin if I sat in the presence of James Baldwin and could break bread and have conversation with him. And in the words of the younger kids, give him to tell me some of the teas.
Okay, who are the other two?
I said once upon a time I used to say Josiah Henson because of the Uncle Tom thing and people misusing Uncle Tom.
Mm-hmm.
I would want to have conversation with him on why it was important. For those of you who don't know, go look him up. We read Harriet Beecher Stowe's book in high school. We half read it, didn't pay attention because we let people use Uncle Tom out of context.
Got it.
I wish I could have a conversation with him and get him to just tell me everything. Why is it he felt it was so important to start the slavery movement in the freedmen, the freed slaves up in Canada? That organization actually still does exist for people who want to look it up.
Okay.
I would want to have some conversations with him and historical people like around that era and just really understand and ask them what drives them, because they didn't have things. They were told they weren't nothing. You're your property. You need to conform, but yet they thrived and they wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say a historical person like that. And then the third person, I'm always like not exactly sure who I would say. I think I probably would go back to the Harlem Renaissance, but not just to have dinner, or pull that person up front, Langston Hughes, somebody like that, Zora Neale Hurston. But I wish I could go back in their time and actually have dinner with them and see what it was like in that actual period.
I like that. If it were me, it would be Nat Turner, Malcolm X, and the football player Jim Brown. And all I can say to that is fight the power! Fight the power!
Time is truly wasted. There's
fight the power. Fight the power. Fight that power.
Sounds in the making. You gotta fight the power that be. Oh, that was Isley Brothers. So okay.
Yeah. Okay, look. You've got PrideIndex.com. You got the Esteem Awards. You got Artists in the Afternoon. What other stuff do you have going on for the rest of the year and like beginning of 2024?
We are attempting to sneak in another Artist in the Afternoon sometime in the fall. But we wanted to do a virtual event around religion and sexuality. This past year with the Esteem Awards, there's an organization called Pride in the Pews. Don Abrams is doing a wonderful job. And we, Derek, Dr. Tenio wrote a book called Saved, Sanctified, and Same Gender Loving. So that was another little idea we had in the back of our head. One day we're going to have a panel. We're going to bring some of those guys together and do that. That will happen possibly virtually November, December. Also, we have coming Black Alphabet Film Festival here in Chicago. Adam is doing a wonderful job, he and that group, with recognizing LGBTQ plus filmmakers. So that's coming up, and we got to figure out what Pride Index and the Esteem Awards role will be in that. So those are the two things we have coming up for this year. But I did want to just sneak this in.
Okay.
If you're people out there who are listening to this, watching this interview, if they know of people in their community who we should recognize, feel free to send me an email, esteemfeedback@hotmail.com. I know I tell people to go to the website and see if we recognize some of those people before, because sometimes we'll get repeat names. But, if you know of anybody out there who's doing things in the community, reach out to us. Tell us your own stories as well. What are you doing? I met a young lady who she and her mother had actually started a shelter for battered women. And we wanted to recognize them. And she explained to me for security reasons, she really didn't want to do it.
Okay. Let's see.
And I said, we wouldn't, I was like, we could find a way to do it. We wouldn't have to say where you are and all of that. But they didn't want to do it. And I thought what they were doing was so commendable. So there are so many organizations and people out there doing things for the community who need to be recognized, who need their stories to be shared, who need a platform.
Absolutely.
Come to us, prideindex.com, theesteemawards.com.
Okay. Just once again, give us your social media. How can we follow you? All of that good stuff.
You can follow me. Okay, I'm singing that song. Can you edit the part and actually put the real song in when I'm singing to make it seem like I'm doing it?
Oh, I'll think about it.
Never mind. Okay. Prideindex.com, theesteemawards.com, Phil Esteem on Facebook, Philip Esteem on Instagram, on YouTube, on Vimeo, on Tumblr.
How many L's in Philip?
Just one L.
Just one L.
Just one L. Although I did put two L's in, I believe, my Facebook page because of the kids in Nigeria. That was another long story. There's actually Esteem Awards in Nigeria. And we kind of had a little fight over our website. Yeah. Because they took our website. And we're like, okay, no, mine is the Esteem Awards. Although that dude was kind of fine. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Who is this? Okay, black man from this other country. Okay. But that's not your website, dude. No.
Mr. Philip Esteem, thank you for an enlightening and tantalizing visit on Wyatt. I could barely get that out. Wyatt! You got to come back.
I will. Anytime. Just invite me back. I promise I'll have Velcro fingers like my cousin Tyrone them. And I'm not going to overstay my welcome like my Aunt Gladys them. She bring her other sister and all the kids. And you go, why are they still here? Okay. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to behave.
Well, in that case,
as I pick up a drink.
Thank you, my brother. Yeah. So, y'all, there you have it. You can find the official Wyatt podcast page at WyattEvans.com, the go-to destination for LGBTQ plus news, features, commentary, and entertainment. WyattEvans.com is visited by more than 100 countries on the regular. All I can say to that is, hey, baby. And at WyattEvans.com, you'll find my smoking hot, HAWT hot, Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. And as you just saw on the top, the newest installment is called Shattered. I said Shattered. And y'all, Shattered is full of action, danger, intrigue, sexually charged situations, passion, and all of the wonderful elements that you're used to in the Nothing Can Tear Us Apart series of novels. So get your new copy of Shattered
Now, you can follow me, your host, Wyatt O'Brien Evans, all across social media, and poof, is right there for you to peruse, like TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. And if you have any comments or whatever, you can hit me up at wyattonair@gmail.com. So until next time, y'all, woof, goddammit, woof, 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 woof. I said woof.